Hey fashion lovers, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make this stylish asymmetric ruched dress. This dress is very beautiful and comfortable. It has pockets by the sides. If this is what you like to learn how to make, then you need to watch this video till the end. Let's get started. So this is the fabric that I'm using for the project. It is silk. You can use crepe or any other flowy material that can drape very well. It is 3 yards of silk. And the measurements I'm using, I'll be needing bust circumference, waist circumference, under bust circumference, under bust length, half length for the front and the back half length, okay? Then the full length of the dress as well as the shoulder, all right? So we are going to start cutting on our fabric. I will start by cutting the skirt, that is the down part of the dress. So I'll get the fabric and then fold it into 2 equal parts. The entire 3 yards of fabric is what I am folding with the right sides facing each other. To cut the skirt, that is the down part of this dress, I'm going to be showing 2 different methods you can use. First method is 180 degrees flay, while the second method is A-line, okay? Whether you use method A or method B, you are still going to come up with a good result. Now let's start cutting with method A. So now that I have my fabric folded into 2 on the table, you can see that this part is on fold. This part is not on fold. So I'll get this part that is not on fold and then meet the other part that is on fold in bias form. Make sure you arrange everywhere smooth and neat. So what we are going to do now is to get the radius of this flay, all right? I'm going to be using a simple formula to get the radius of this flay. So this is my waist measurement. My waist is 29 inches. I'm going to be adding allowance. So I'm going to be adding 4 inches allowance, all right? Because I'm going to be opening up the sides, okay? This is the center. You can see that one is on fold here and the other one is not on fold. So this is the center front, while the one that is not on fold will be the middle of the back, that is the center back. Then this side will now be the side. So I'm going to be opening up the side and then I will join it back. But if you're not opening up the side, you don't need to add up to 4 inches allowance. You just have to add 1 inch for the fixing of the zipper. So I have added 4 inches to my waist circumference. That means I'll have 33 inches now. I'm going to divide 33 inches by 3.14. This is a standard formula to get the radius of half of a circle, okay? I have 10.5. I'm going to come to this part, the edge of the flay, and mark down 10.5, all right? I'll go ahead and cut it out. Next is to get the full length of the dress, okay? And to get the full length of the dress, I'm going to be taking off the bodice, which is 16 inches. That is from shoulder to the waist. For mine is 16 inches. So I'm going to be taking off 16 inches from my tape to get the full length of the dress. So now this is what I have. I'll go ahead and notch the middle point of the front, okay? Then I'll open up the sides because I want the sides to have joining. This is now my back flay. Why I had to open up the side is because I want to fix pocket to the side. If you do not want to fix pocket, you don't have to open up the side and you don't have to add up to 4 inches to your waist circumference. You can just add 1 inch, okay? I'll take out the back. Now this is the front, okay? So I want to create where I'll be fixing the ruched effect. So I'm going to fold in and then take off that 1 inch I have. I'm going to place that 1 inch allowance that I have. So I'll take it off. That is the allowance that I have. Now I'll go ahead and arrange the fabric. Then use a hot steam iron to create a line as a guide where I'll be fixing the rope for the ruched effect. Now let me show you how to cut the skirt using method B, which is A-line. This is the fabric that I want to use and illustrate the second method. It is also 3 yards, but it is crepe. So I'll fold the entire 3 yards into 2. After you have folded the fabric into 2, so this side is the side in yardage and this is the side in length. So what I'm going to do is to get this side that is in length and place in a bias form, like a form, okay? The other one was in triangle form, but this time around we are going to be placing in a form. This is in bias form of a line, okay? So now you get your ruler and draw this line straight. You're going to divide your waist circumference by 4, okay? So when you divide your waist circumference by 4, I have 29 as my waist circumference. So if I should divide by 4, I have 7.25. So I'll mark down 7.25. Then I'll check if the side seam allowance that I have is too much. It is too much here. I have 3.5 here. So what I'm going to do now is to pull the fabric backwards, okay? So I'll pull it back a little bit. When I'm pulling this side, I will spread out this part like so, because I want it to be fuller at the down part while it is smaller at the upper part, okay? So can you see what I'm doing now? I'll rearrange it. So now I'll cross check my waist circumference now and know if the allowance is up to what I want. Okay, so I have 7.25 and I have 1 inch allowance here. So if the allowance is not as much as I want, I can keep on either increasing or reducing, okay? Then from there, I'll mark down my waist to hip measurements and know if what I have here is up to my hip circumference, okay? So my hip is 40. When I divide by 4, I have 10. So I have more than enough, more than 1 inch. I have 1.5 here as the allowance. So it is enough for me. But if it is not enough, you can equally move it forward a little bit and rearrange your fabric, okay? Then after getting your waist circumference now, you can take off the bodice, that is the from shoulder to the waistline, okay? And then get the full length of the dress, all right? So this is it. Let me say the full length is 60. You start marking the full length. You must add your hemming allowance, okay? You add your hemming allowance, then you go ahead and cut out. Remember, you're going to be having zipper at the back. So what you're going to do is to cut just one piece, because I have 2 pieces here. That is for the front and the back, okay? Then you place it on the remaining fabric so that you could add a zipper allowance at the back, okay? But if you want, you can just cut them together, add enough allowance here, all right? You can add up to 2 inches allowance. So by the time you use 1 inch to join the middle of the back, you will still have like 1 inch for the side, okay? To cut it out, all you have to do is to cut out the waistline and then cut out the side and the full length of the dress, okay? And for the front, you're also going to divide it by 2 and fix your rushed rope, okay? Now you have 2 options of cutting the skirts to choose from. Whether you go for option A or option B, you are still going to come up with good results. The only difference between method A and method B is the fullness of the skirt. 180 degrees flay will be fuller, okay, because it is half of a circle, while A line will not be as full as the 180 degrees flay. So if you're making for somebody that is plus size, you can use this A line flay, okay? But if you want the dress to be as full as my own, then you can go for method A, which is 180 degrees flay. Now let's continue with the pattern drafting for the bodice, okay? So for the bodice, I have drafted a basic bodice block. If you don't know how to draft a basic bodice block, tell me in the comment section and I'll send you a detailed tutorial. I drafted the basic bodice block on fold, both for the front and the back block. So what we are going to do now is to convert this basic bodice block to the asymmetric bodice that we are making. So I'll come under the bust line and mark down 0.75 on each side of the dart line, and I will connect to the bust point. I am going to also do the same thing at the waistline. So this is what I have. Then I'll go ahead and mark the bust circumference divided by 4, okay, which is 9. Then I'll come to the under bust line and mark my under bust circumference divided by 4. I have 28 divided by 4, 7. I will replace this dart intake which is 1.5, I'll replace it. Then I'll come to the waistline and mark the waist circumference divided by 4. Okay, and I'll also replace this dart intake. Okay, and I'll connect all the points. I'm going to also do the same thing for the back block. I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4, and I'll also mark the waist circumference divided by 4. Replace the dart intake. Next is to mark down the side dart. You can see that my front half length is 16 while the back half length is 15. So to be able to make the sides equal, I'm going to come here and mark 1 inch under my bust point line as the side dart, and I'll connect to the bust point. By the time we close it up, the length will now be equal by the sides. Okay, this is the basic bodice block that I have. To convert this to asymmetric bodice that we are making, I'm going to trace all these markings that I have here so that they can also appear on the other side of my pattern paper. Okay, you can just go ahead and mark it here, but I'm going to be using a tracing wheel. I have the markings appear on the other side of the paper, so I'm going to go ahead now and draw out the markings. Okay, now so this is what I have. I'm going to go ahead and trace the back off camera exactly the same way that I have traced the front block. So now I have been able to trace the markings on the other side of the pattern paper. So our dress has band at the front. Okay, I'm going to be trimming off from the under bust to the waistline. That will serve as the band for the dress. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the dart. I will tape that together, so that will be the band. So I'll come to the shoulder line and divide the shoulder width by 2. Okay, and then connect to the bust point. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch to the shoulder line as allowance, which I will use for the ruched around the shoulder line. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch there. Okay, so I'll go to the back and also mark down that 1 inch as well. I will divide the shoulder width by 2 as well and connect to the chest line. So what I'm going to do now is to go ahead now and cut out the pattern. I'll close up the whole dart that I have on the pattern. So you can open up the pattern paper. So you cut one part of the dart open. Okay, before I finish closing up the darts for the front, I'm going to convert this basic block now to the asymmetric neckline that we are making. I'll come to this part of the pattern paper and then come up by ½ inch from the chest line and connect to the neckline. Then I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'm going to label this as the front. So I'm going to get the back block and then bring them together like so. I'll place this. Remember, this is the wrong side of the pattern paper and this is the wrong side of the other pattern paper as well. So I'll make sure that the wrong side, the two wrong sides are facing each other. I will just place the front pattern paper on top of the back pattern paper, then draw out the same asymmetric neckline and cut. So I'll go ahead now and indicate the other side as the front. This is the right side. Okay, let me use the word right side. I had to make sure that the two wrong sides faces each other. before I created the asymmetric neckline. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and close up the remaining dots. So to be able to have that ruched effect at the shoulder, I'm going to open up this shoulder line. That is why I had to create this shoulder line here. So I'll go ahead and open up the shoulder line. When I get to the bust point, I'm going to stop. Okay, all right, so can you see? I'll go ahead and close up the remaining side darts. You can notice that I have transferred all the darts. That is the waist dart and the side dart to this point. So by the time we close it up, we'll have pleats at the shoulder. Okay, so this is what I have for the front. I'll keep the front aside, and I'll also create the space for the ruched effect at the shoulder line. So I'll come to the one that has shoulder. You can notice that one side is now off shoulder while the other side has shoulder. So I'll come to that part that has shoulder and connect to the shoulder line. I'll cut it open. So this is the back and then the front and the band for the front. Okay, so what you are going to be doing now is to place the patterns on the fabric and add all the necessary allowances and cuts. If you do not understand the pattern drafting, you can replay the video as many times as possible so that you understand clearly. Okay, to avoid this video getting too long, I had to divide it into two. I'll be uploading the sewing tutorial next on the channel. If you want to see the sewing tutorial, tell me in the comment section and I'll send you the tutorial link once I upload it. I will also be showing my own recreation in that sewing video. Don't forget to hit on the subscribe button if you have not subscribed. Turn on your notification bell so that anytime I upload any tutorial, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching.